On to our main event here. So Dave Spickler has Lighthouse Commodities, and he has a really awesome program that started that's growing at a pretty fast clip. He's going to tell us about the Birthday Beacon program this morning. So here we go, Dave. Let's hear it for Dave.
Well, good morning, everyone, and I gotta apologize. I'm actually not much help towards your 1 million cups goal. I'm still at 0 cups of coffee for my life so far. I'm not a big coffee drinker. That's just one of things people don't like about me. But again, Dave Spickler is my name, president of Lighthouse Commodities. I'm actually joined today by Jess Chris, our CFO. She's also one of the founders of Lighthouse and a significant owner, and then Kelly McGregor, our financial controller. And if I sound or look a little bit familiar, it's actually 1 year ago, almost to the day, that we came to 1 million cups, came to this theater and talked about Lighthouse, just shared our Lighthouse Commodities story and shared a brief story, did some Q&A, answered a few questions, overall had a pretty good time, and you guys left us with how you leave, I believe, every meeting. What could the Bismarck Mandan 1 million cups community do to better support your business? And we had a bunch of problems then, we have a bunch of problems now, but I didn't ask for anything specifically that day, but I didn't forget about the offer. And a year later I'm back here today because we do have something to ask of the Bismarck Mandan business community here. So we'll get into that in a second. Just quickly though, maybe just a quick refresher, or for people that weren't here a year ago or otherwise just don't know, I should share just a little bit of background again on Lighthouse Commodities. So Lighthouse Commodities, as the name implies, we're a commodity trading company. We help farmers market their grain. We trade physical grain all over the continent, and we actually and then trade financial derivatives, futures and options on grain and other commodities and things of that nature. We've been doing this for 10 years. We were founded 10 years ago. You may not have noticed us though prior to today. We have, we don't have any flashy real estate buildings. We don't have Lighthouse vehicles all stickered up and wrapped up. We don't have obnoxious billboards or pesky radio ads. We really don't give you much to notice. But when I think about that, I'm reminded of something my now wife shared when we were just early into our dating, and she talked about how prior to that she had been torn between two guys early in her dating life, and she was trying to make a decision. She ended up choosing the guy that was better looking of the two, and it ended up not working out for her. And she said, I learned my lesson. I don't go by looks anymore. And I share that story, and my feelings always end up a little hurt because people always laugh harder than I want them to at that. But Lighthouse doesn't go by looks anymore. It shouldn't fool you. In our 10 years, we've actually done just under $2 billion in cumulative lifetime sales. We have over 800,000 acres of farmer client grain that we market. We've launched 4 automated trading strategies, financial trading strategies. We've been at the forefront of incorporating process automation, machine learning, and generative AI into our trading and into our business, and overall have actually built a company we're quite proud of in a business sense. And that's all well and good, I suppose. It's something, but at our annual team member retreat last year, we were talking amongst ourselves, and we challenged ourselves a little bit. We said that's what we are, but is that all we are? Is that all we are as a company? And the answer to that question is actually what we're here to talk about today. So in the heels of that, or coming out of that meeting, out of that retreat, we formed the idea for what we're here to talk about today, Birthday Beacon. And Birthday Beacon, what I'm going to do for the next few minutes then is just share the details of Birthday Beacon, what it is, why it is, how it works, when, where we're at with it as of today, and then ultimately and most importantly, what we envision going forward. So to that end, I guess just what Birthday Beacon is in a simple sense. This is an organization that we founded, funded, and operate that provides birthday parties for children in the community that may not get to experience one otherwise. So the full wrap on a birthday party, the location, the date, the food, cupcakes, that whole wrap, making a simple process to just give someone who wouldn't otherwise get a birthday party. We're providing that for them, and that's what Birthday Beacon is. We'll talk about the how, a little more of the details in a minute here, but first just to talk about the why. Why would we do something like that? What is the inspiration behind putting the energy into doing something like that? There's actually an abundance of research that all kind of centers on the most formative early childhood memories, the ones that stick the most resolutely, the ones that carry through in a child's life all the way through the end are memories of celebrations, of just big celebration, big event type moments, good days, if you will. That's the most formative thing, and it has a huge impact. A child who has an early childhood that is filled with good days tends to develop considerably more emotional resilience, and they also tend to just in general foster and harbor a more positive outlook on life that carries with them through their whole life. It's not surprising. They know what a good day feels like. And I think in the context of that, there really isn't much more of a pinnacle of a good day for a young child, for an elementary age child, than your actual birthday party, a big birthday celebration that's all about you and whatnot. That's the pinnacle of what you can have as a good day with being a young child, and so that's easy for me to say. And as I share that, we're probably all thinking about our own good days. I think your mind naturally brings up those positive childhood memories if you're fortunate enough to experience stuff, and even just positive memories throughout your life. And I think there's a reason why we tend to think of good days, because we also all of us tend to experience bad days. To illustrate this, I want to share just a quick story about one of my bad days, kind of a fun story, but helps make this point. So a few years ago, or a couple of years ago, I was actually given a very, very generous, thoughtful gift, a very nice laptop case, and it was quite extravagant. It was this beautiful bound, hand-stitched leather, quite large. It had a bunch of pockets that you could put all your stuff into it, and had a shoulder strap so you could ease the burden of carrying it by hand. I was quite proud of it, and I got home from work with it that day, and my two teenage daughters said, "Hey, Dad, nice purse you got there." And I said, "Girls, you don't understand. This is an executive travel satchel. I would not expect you to understand the needs of a modern, sophisticated businessman like myself." And they'd said, we may not understand business, but we understand purses, and that's a purse. You got yourself a man purse. And so that continued for quite a while. It was actually getting bullied a bit in my own household from my teenage daughters. And so we're traveling, my wife and I were traveling shortly after that, and we're at the airport car rental kiosk of a very busy airport that was unusually busy that way. The whole atrium was just packed with people, and if you've ever rented a car, it's a lengthy process at the counter. And I had set my executive travel satchel down on the counter, and this took long enough that I forgot it there. And as we were walking away back into the crowd of people, we got about 30 feet away, and this gal at the counter yells out in the loudest voice I've ever heard anyone use in an airport, yells out, "Ma'am, you forgot your purse." And the whole atrium, the whole area of people just fell deathly silent in an instant. And I said to my wife, just go grab it for me. And she said, I'm gonna stay put. And so I went up and grabbed it, and I walked back to her, and this took a few seconds, of course, and I walked back to her and I said, "Well, at least promise me that you won't share this on our family group text." And she said, "That's going to be pretty tough to promise, because I've already passed on most of the details." So that's an example of just a bad day for myself and whatnot, and kind of a humorous one, but a bad one nonetheless. But the reason I know that it's a bad day is because I've had plenty of good days, all the usual ones, and then some birth of children, wedding. I think it's, you think about your wedding day, and older married folks will come up to you and say, this is the best day of your life. And what they mean is every day for the rest of your life is going to be worse than this. So that's not true. But nonetheless, plenty of good days. But if you think about a child that maybe grows up in a difficult economic situation or an unstable home situation or any of the such, they may not even know the difference between a good day and a bad day. They may go through their childhood and into early adult life without even knowing what a good day is supposed to feel like. And that's the why behind Birthday Beacon, beyond just the research, just the simple fact that we know intuitively that everyone deserves a chance to get to know what a good day feels like. So how this works, so essentially, Birthday Beacon has partnered with what we would, for lack of a better term, what we would call recruiters, community members, businesses, organizations that are uniquely positioned to that they're interacting with kids in a deep enough, meaningful enough way that they can identify need and actually put forth kids for nomination. We've actually, our original and most prominent has been Bismarck Public Schools. Bismarck Public Schools, the incredible social workers and guidance counselors that work through Bismarck Public Schools, they've actually been a wonderful partner of ours in addition to all the other great work they do, and they've put forth just a ton of kids for nominations for parties. More recently, we've added Morton County Social Services, Better Together North Dakota, which is a nonprofit that, among other things, works with the foster kid community in the state. And then Blast, which is, if you were maybe familiar with, if you've got school-age kids, they actually provide the after-school program for Bismarck kids and then the summer program. So we use recruiters like that are uniquely positioned to identify, here's a kid that would potentially benefit from, may not get to experience a party otherwise. And they simply submit a nomination simple online process, a very simple process for this individual. And then from there, we notify the individual and their family, hey, you've been selected for a Birthday Beacon party, and that kid and their family can choose from one of 10 locations. This is the math part of this presentation. I'm going to try to remember all 10 locations right now. I'm going to try to do without using my fingers to count. So Midway Lanes, Tilt, Sky Zone, the Dakota Zoo, Bismarck Gymnastics Academy, Four Seasons Golf, the Golf Dome, Hillside Pool, Bismarck Aquatic Center, my favorite, Bismarck Larks. I think that's all 10. So yeah, that's the number one thing I wanted to accomplish, was to get all 10 of them. So 10. Think of that. That's 10 wonderful. The recreation and celebration community in Bismarck's sure been great to work with. That's 10 wonderful places that kids have a chance to pick for parties. So that family makes a selection. We verify that the date and time is available. We actually then pay with that location for the party, for the food at the party. And then we've actually partnered with Bits of Heaven to make cupcakes, a local proprietor that makes wonderful cupcakes. And then actually, as this has grown so rapidly, we've actually gotten to where we needed a second cupcake supplier, if you will, and the Cashwise Bakery has also been very good to work with. So we provide cupcakes then that we pay for and deliver to that party event for that kid. So that is the process. That is the how, I guess, of how it works. So it's a very simple process in that regard. And then just as far as the when, so we started actually in early December with our first party. It actually took a while to work the logistics of this all up. This is actually a business challenge, just like the ones all of us would do in the for-profit side of our business. You have an idea that's more noble, I guess, than just shamelessly trying to make money and whatnot, but there's a lot of business process to work out. So by December, we had worked out this whole flow and all of the, all of the details, and we started offering parties. And we had said, it would be great if we could give 20 birthday parties in 2025. That would be a great initial goal for us. And we actually hit 20 birthday parties by mid-January, so pretty early into 2025. And as of right now, we're up to 91 birthday parties that we've done in the first 4 months, and there continues to be pretty great need or pretty great opportunity to give people these birthday parties, these good days. So that's the when. I guess that's where it started and where we're at now with it, and up to 91 parties as of this moment here today, and growing quite rapidly. And that actually brings us to the who, and kind of to the answer I have for you from a year ago of what could the 1 Million Cups community do to help out. We'd sure ask you, if you're here today as a business owner or business decision maker, to consider joining us on this effort. We envision Birthday Beacon expanding way beyond what Lighthouse is capable of doing on its own. We have a broad vision that goes way beyond that, and we'd ask you to consider at least starting to think about joining us in this effort, financially, operationally, all the things that it takes to be successful as we try to find kids that don't have good days and give them good days. And for me to pose that to you, you have to ask a question to yourself: why would we do that? It's great that you're doing that, but why would we do that? And I think back to just it's probably 3-4 weeks ago at Lighthouse, and we're both a financial and physical commodity trading company, and we're right in the middle of the initial impacts of some of the tariff things and whatnot, and it had caused just issues on all fronts. Other than COVID, it was the most disruptive, difficult stretch we'd ever went through as a business. Our physical shipments of grain were potentially disrupted, obviously had huge effects on the financial markets. We were dealing with this extreme risk, this extreme volatility, with it just compounding amount of stress and tension and frustration and worry and all of this. And right in the middle of this, right in the middle of just a day that was otherwise quite frustrating, Kelly had shared and passed along a note she had gotten from one of the recruiters that had said one of the kids that had a party had told her it was the best day she had ever had. And this party was. And for us, that's why we're doing this. Since we launched Birthday Beacon, we've been having way more good days than bad days. So with that, thank you for listening to me. Jess, Kelly, and myself would be happy to answer any questions. And either way, we sure appreciate the chance to share a bit of what we're up to here.